All right, welcome back. So today we're talking about the Scramble for Africa. This is we say Scramble for Africa. It's literally a mad dash in a way, like a mad crazy grab that European countries had for literally all the land of Africa. That's why it's called the scramble, because they were just basically going out of their way doing getting as much as they could, right? So I want to. You've seen this map from the other lecture yesterday, the other narrated PowerPoint, wherever you want to say, right? So you already saw this, so you can see like before domination, there was like lots of different ethnic groups, lots of different languages spoken. Um, Europeans really, prior to about the 1500s, really didn't travel into Africa, like barring like excluding this region and this type of area. Not a lot of influence from Europe. Okay, um, mostly because they were kept out by geography a little bit, right? Geographical luck. There's a big desert, like we're going right here, y'all. Um, and of course, they didn't have maybe the technology, but also like there were African tribes and that were good at preventing them through war, right? So, but when you have the late 1860s, missionary from Scotland traveled. He's like, "Yo, y'all need Jesus. Y'all need Christianity in your life." And so he decided to explore. He ended up deciding to explore rather than become a missionary, and became an abolitionist. Abolitionists, break that down. Abolish slavery. What? Yeah. So abolitionist, it means like fighting to abolish slavery. And then he was AFK. They were like, "Oh shoot, we haven't heard. Have you heard from Dave yet? Yo, have you heard from Dave? No. Oh shoot, maybe he did." But uh, newspaper reporter ended up going in and like finding him, and he found him. And there's a super famous quote, Dr. Livingstone, I presume. And then everyone's like, "Yo, he be alive? Whoa!" So they be tripping, right? Everyone's like, "Oh my god, are you kidding me? He's alive down there. He's alive in Africa. Like seriously?" And so like people be like trying to figure, like they want to know about Africa, like they want to know. It sparks more interest. People are, we got to explore and we got to exploit, but they didn't like say it like explore and exploit. They were like explore and exploit, right? So he's paving the, like that's the he paved the way for it in a weird way. He wasn't like, yeah, let's exploit it. He was on the front of it, like seemed like he wanted to fight slavery. Seemed like a good intentions. Unfortunately, uh, it paved the way for people to explore in a negative in terms of like exploiting the land. I mean, it did inspire more people to maybe like ban slavery or try to ban slavery, but um, kind of helped and hurt a lot. So your mad scramble begins. So take a second. You can pause the video here. Well, look at that. So look at this pre. Now let's look at the post 1880. Like look at, if you take a look at the key down here. Look at the amount of European influence. Like we're talking a straight up grab. It's like, y'all ever been at a little kid's, like a 5, 6 year old kid party, and like someone hits that pinata and then it explodes and candy's everywhere, and you see like little kids like acting like they be lemurs, like jumping out of trees to get that candy. Envision that, but instead of little kids and candy, it's like European rulers and land in Africa. Okay, they are doing everything they can to get land. And going back to the video prior, it's all for those the three G's, right? Your gold, glory, God. But for them, it's mostly gold, like gold, and then like glory, and then definitely God. Okay. So again, like look, that's crazy. That's crazy, the difference. Okay. So let me scroll down over here. So make sure I have everything. Yeah. So oh, I didn't say, yeah, and diamonds be discovered. So diamonds, gold, um, are discovered in certain places, and as a result of that, uh, obviously piques more interest, right? If you don't have diamonds, gold, anything valuable, maybe Europeans is kind of like, we're interested, but not as. As soon as you got tons of gold, diamonds, things that get you those stacks, get you that influence, you know, they interested. They so interested. Okay, so Berlin Conference, so they're like, yo, we gotta be civil. We gotta be civil about this. How are we gonna prevent this? How do you want to prevent this? I gotta move my head, and it's blocking Berlin here. So they're like, you know what? Let's come to this. Let's do some conflict resolution. Let's think about it. And oh, you know what we should do? If you get the land, just say, hey, it's mine. Claim it, right? Claim it, and then draw it on a map. Be like, this little piece right here, that's mine, and then it's yours. So, France, we, you like that land over there? You claim it, we, and you drew it on the map, right? We, all right, it's yours. Okay, so that's kind of what they did, but they really didn't invite anyone from Africa. They were just like, it's ours. We're doing it. We're going to be civil, but not, right. So the Congo Free State. This is one of the worst instances. Oh gosh, I gotta move this. Right, this is one of the worst instances that we can point to where imperialism is real bad. Like imperialism's bad, but like it got out of hand in the Congo. Okay, this is the one. So during the conference, noble concerns about wealth and territory. Obviously, you got to dice it up, and so these were the objectives, or some of the objectives. But this was mostly advocated by missionaries, right? So they're concerned with ending poverty, but for the most part, the rulers, they ain't that interested in that. They're looking at solidifying power and continue to make the country that they are in charge of lasting, even if that comes at a detriment to all the other countries in Africa. Okay, yeah. So advocated by missionaries. Um, it was given to a charitable organization. So let's take a look at this. All right. So mission. Oh, I was getting cut off there. So the mission, develop the Congo. Okay, that's a good idea, right? Let's push for a little bit more development, maybe in terms of technology and whatnot. Like that could be a good idea. Spread Christianity. Again, trying to force God upon the people of the Congo. Maybe they want it, maybe they don't. Not necessarily the worst, most evil thing you could do. I mean, good intentions, I suppose. And slavery, that's a good one, right? Abolish slavery. This is right around the 1880s, so this is after slavery has been abolished. Goodness, almost everywhere, right? America already had their Civil War in this 1860s, so this is 15 plus years after that. The UK has already abolished this, so again, good. Bring peace and prosperity to Africa. Again, if you look at those, and if before I even said, is this going to be a good or bad thing? You look and go, those seems good. Those seem legit, right? That seems honestly positive. So, but man, I'm sorry about how this is all laid out. I didn't do that right. Oof. So this dude, King Leopold II of Belgium, well, he owned the charity. Okay, so going back to this, given to a charitable organization owned by this bloke, right? Owned by this dude. So he owned it. So therefore, none of the countries have real say over it. So he's not under anyone's jurisdiction. He's under his own jurisdiction. So he's a king that owns all this land privately. So and then he's masquerading, right? He's pulling the wool over the eyes. He's like, look at me over here as I do some shady crap over here, right? So he's basically pretending it's a charity, but my dude, rubber is one of the world's. So Congo has like some of the only rubber, like large. How do I? That's a bad point. So rubber is from trees, right? And Congo has a ton of it, a ton of it, a ton of it, a ton of it. If you are like, does the Congo have a lot of rubber? A ton of it. Okay, a ton of it. So the price of rubber like went through the roof in the 1880s. Like y'all be, it's a good example. So like, oof, I gotta find one. I gotta find a good one that champion. We'll go back to champion. Y'all love your champion gear. Again, when I was in high school, you could buy that at Walmart for like $8. You could buy like 7 sweatshirts for $8, and then they'd be like, you buy 7 for $8, get a seventh or an eighth free. Okay, but for some reason, now it's popping. Y'all love it. And you can't find, like, I can't find a champion sweatshirt. Like I had a champion sweatshirt in high school for like, it was like $5. You can't find a champion sweatshirt for less than like, I don't know, like at least 10, I suppose. I don't know. I don't have one now. But you see how it's gone up. That's basically what happens. So like rubber's here and all of a sudden it's like astronomically high. And they're like, we have a lot of it in the Congo. Okay. So he's gonna make money off of it. Man, I gotta keep moving my head around here. Here we go. Okay. Oh goodness, in the way again. I don't even know where to put this right now. Okay, so um yeah, so they enforced the rule through a standing army in which they were mostly hired from the Congolese population. Now, if you weren't part of this, you had to work in the work to get the rubber, and you had certain quotas you had to meet, and you didn't usually meet those quotas because they were like, it'd be like if I asked you to finish a 15-page paper every single day for me. Like you might be able to finish it one day, but can you imagine writing a 15-page paper every single day? Do you think you're going to be able to do that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. And you have that cushy thing where you just tap it in here, like you have to go get the rubber in a really hot, humid area with tons of bugs. Like it is not pleasant, okay? And if you don't hit your quota, mutilation could happen, death could happen, anything is on the board. So it's not slavery, but for all intents and purposes it is. So this thing that they're doing here, if you could get on it, like it's much better than that, than this. So we're talking torture, mutilation, killings, massacres. You don't meet your quota, you get tortured. You don't get your quota, you could die from all these wounds. You could get your hands cut off. Like it is awful. Okay, these guys that were a part of this are also responsible in a way for this as well because they had to carry some of that out. Okay, you don't meet certain quotas, this could happen to you, and these are kids, like they're adults all the way through kids, and it's not good. But does the world know about this? 1880, there's no Twitter. You can't get on and tweet like, yo, I just saw an execution happen because they didn't bring enough. No, you can't do that because the world doesn't know. There is no internet. There is nothing for them to quickly get out what's going on. Okay, so there was examples of like entire towns getting destroyed, like getting massacred. There's women and children getting raped and murdered. We're talking workers getting shot in the fields if they don't get it. Like think of awful things that you could possibly think of, like some of the most awful stuff, things that happened here or worse. Okay, so it is excruciating, awful what they had to go through without the world knowing, under the umbrella or the disguise as a charitable organization trying to prevent this. Yo, that's, I hope you understand the gravity of how awful this is, and this is just the Congo. Remember, like we're talking, all of Africa had some horrible stuff going on for one reason or another. Maybe not this bad, maybe this bad. Like it's Awful. Okay. So what's his legacy? Well, he made insane amounts of cash, like insane. Okay. And when people finally got to this and they're like, "Are you serious? You're doing this?" So he was like, I have to give it to Belgium," and so he had to surrender the land to the Belgian government, but he got to keep his money and his throne. So it was basically like slap on the wrist, like bad, bad king, bad, you awful. But actually, but you're king, like you can kind of stay in charge with all your money. Okay, so he turned in his territory, but he destroyed records too. So like, well, this is what we know from like all of his records prior to like what we know is from all these accounts, but like even his private records, so like there could be stuff that he did that we don't know. Okay, so pretty awful. So here's your new map of Africa. Like all these lands owned and operated by outside entities, specifically like Western Europe. The only two that didn't get it are right here, Ethiopia and Liberia. The only two countries that did not fall under European rule. Everyone else did. Insane. Absolutely insane. Insane in my brain. Uh, it's mind blowing. So, and you'll notice like certain things in here, like British East Africa. You got like these are renamed. Anglo Egyptian Sudan is now Sudan and South Sudan. Belgian Congo is the Democratic Republic of Congo now. Like so, when you look at some of these, like you probably don't recognize all those names because they ended up being renamed, right? And you look at this, you're like, well, how did they decide on like these lines? Like, is everyone in Nigeria ethnically Nigerian? Like, are all the same within? No, absolutely not. Because they're just randomly like, remember what I said about like, yo, France, you like that land? You were there, you put your flag in it, and you're like, this is mine. Yeah, whatever they drew the line, they drew the line. So that's like these lines are like they split ethnic groups, they smash them together. It's messed up. Okay, so South Africa is a really good example um, of like a place that was like pretty strong, has pretty strong centralized country compared to some of the others in Africa, and it was settled